Thank you, Christine. I just wanted to thank eVisors for inviting me to present to you all, and thank everyone on the line for taking some time out of your day to hear from me. So good morning to anyone on the West Coast. Otherwise, I guess it's good afternoon to you folks in Central and Eastern Time. I'm sitting in San Francisco right now in my offices at Salesforce. And, if you have any problem hearing me or anything like that, just find a way to reach out. Maybe Christine will make sure that I can get more clear or whatnot. But I wanted to spend some time today taking you through careers in supply chain and operations. And when I was putting together this presentation, I put the lens on, 5 years ago, if someone were to have this webinar, what would I want to hear from them? And really the answer for me was, I knew particular careers, I knew things that I liked in operations, things that I didn't like, but what I didn't know was what the overall landscape of the industry was. So what are the different types of jobs for folks that are interested in supply chain and operations? What industry should I look at? What are the different career options, career paths? So I just wanted like a broad 101 on the landscape. And then I felt like that would really be helpful for me 5 years ago so that I could start to be more strategic on where I plan and what industries I target and how I want to structure my career. So that's what I'm hoping to do for you all today. So in terms of an agenda, I'll probably take 30 minutes chatting and then leave a lot of time at the end for questions. I appreciate a few of you have already sent some questions, so I'll try to answer them along the way as well. So I'll do a brief background about myself, and then I'll spend the majority of the time talking about the landscape of the industry itself. So we'll talk about the different functions within supply chain and operations where there are a lot of career opportunities. We'll talk about the different career paths you can actually take, going into industry, consulting, and whatnot. And then just talk about how the different industries overlay on these two things, so you can start to be really targeted about your career path. And then we'll have some discussions about what's the best way to pick the right career for you. And then finally, we'll make sure that we leave some time about the recruiting process, so my advice on where to look for jobs and what to expect in interviews. Okay, so just some more background about myself. I was with McKinsey's operations practice for 3 years. I primarily focused on supply chain engagements, but I also spent time in procurement, manufacturing, and some non-operations related engagements as well. The industries I served were pretty broad, and I hope to bring that to you today. I served automotive, consumer goods, construction, retail, oil and gas, private equity, beer, wine and spirits, all in an operations capacity. So hopefully I can bring some of those insights to this discussion. But also, something that really allows me, I think, to give you perspective on both sides of the table was that I led recruiting for McKinsey's operations practice at a few universities. So I used to lead all of the business analyst recruiting. So these are the young consultants straight out of undergrad or maybe with a master's degree who are interested in operations. So I lead recruiting at Stanford and at Columbia for the firm. So hopefully I can bring some perspectives there. Outside of McKinsey, I was a research assistant at Stanford as well as a teaching assistant in various departments, the supply chain group being one of them at the Stanford Graduate School of Business. Outside of operations, my current role, I'm a manager of sales strategy at Salesforce.com. So this is actually not a core operations function. So the operations in my title is more helping, you could say, like on a service operations basis, to try to help salespeople be more efficient. So really, I'm talking from my previous life where I got most of my operations experience. I was also a quantitative analyst for sports teams, the Pittsburgh Pirates and the Milwaukee Bucks, so that's a passion of mine. And I spent some time in fixed income and equity trading, but operations was largely a passion of mine. Education background, did a management science degree at Stanford, and before that, had a math and business undergrad. Okay, so the way that I'd like to put some structure to this discussion is that think about supply chain along 3 dimensions, the careers in supply chain along 3 dimensions. So one, what function within supply chain and operations interests you and what the different roles look like? So And we'll get into some of the definitions and how I'm labeling functions here a little bit later. But, so there's supply chain, there's procurement, and then there's manufacturing. These are sort of just like the broad, kind of the broad areas that I've laid out here.